on my back for sure when I let the truth go. We gon' let them know my people on my back for sure. I hold them down for the road. The Lord Almighty made me. Laws of God, they changed me. We can see the truth now. Got them looking crazy. Man, I'm always searching. Yeah, you hear I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching. You hear me, boy, I'm searching. Yeah. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our Father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our Father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our Father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. We the chosen people, you say no way. Your enemies been teaching you the wrong way. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history? History. Yeah. Do you know it? Do you know it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Do you know your history?
Hey, shalom, shalom. Welcome back to another episode of Our History. No. You are now tuned into Our Hidden History.
Hidden History radio show.
Yeah, we're back. Welcome to the episode.
Slow bump in the road.
Sorry about that. Welcome back. I confused the cast. Welcome back to another episode of OHH. We are going to revisit last week's classes. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I was BSing last week. I hate Greek captivity. I despise it. I was, procrastinating, because I knew I eventually had to, had to deal with it. So I'm gonna deal with it. We're gonna revisit last week's scriptures again, and I added some more, so it won't appear to be like a repeat of last week. I went to the ephod. That was cool. I figured why not? For the occasion, Levi's week.
Yeah, all praises. All praises. Thank you.
For the occasion of that, and I believe 2 weeks ago I had made reference to how Edom had pretty much took over Europe and subjugated Italy, took over Greece, and that's how I went into the Macedonians. So I kind of went into some stuff. Alexander the Great's father being a Macedonian, Haman being a Macedonian, which is written in the book of Esther, which is found in the Apocrypha. And I want to also touch on the fact that I referenced videos for y'all to, I guess should be your homework, because when I go into the history of what takes place after Rome, you guys are going to make sure that you remember this. So the episodes I'm referencing will be Travels and the Travels and the Decline of Carthage, Episode 14, King Arthur and the Silurians, King Arthur and the Silurians, chapters 15 and 16. Those chapters represent the beginnings of us inhabiting and taking over areas of Britain in Ireland. And we made those lands our own and took it over and became chiefs and tribes and things of that nature. And those chiefs and tribes eventually became who you know of to be the kings and queens of Europe, that many people believe to be Caucasians, and they were not. And we're going to eventually go into that history in time. That is still a work in progress. That history I enjoy. This Greek stuff, I despise it, because these Edomites do a George Foreman. You know, George Foreman, the boxer, all his kids' names is George. George, and George. And then the Greeks named their kids Ptolemy, the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and it's annoying.
So, the hell is this?
I spent a lot of time on that. So, without further ado, let's touch on something I want to touch on really quickly. I made mention about how Esau had taken over Italy. He had subjugated Italy. Really quick, this book right here I always use, and I always make sure everyone sees it, because it's a good book to have. If you're from another camp, or you're within our camp, or if you're a group who are interested in history books or whatever, this book is definitely something that you should look into. Thank you. Bible Atlas, Holman Quick Source Bible Atlas with charts and biblical reconstructions. And I was skimming through the book today because I use this book for every captivity. I use this book for Babylon. I use it for Assyria. I use it for Assyria, Babylon, Persia, and I was going to use it for Rome. But something told me to go through the book and see if there happens to be any history of the Greeks. Because remember, the Bible ends with Rome. The Bible and the Old Testament ends with Persia, Malachi, who was around after Nehemiah's temporary absence. And then, of course, once Malachi ends, Rome begins. Now, we all know, based upon the books of Daniel, chapter 7, that there were 4 major captivities. You had Babylon, Medo-Persia, and Greece and Rome. So when you read the Bible, for some very odd reason, there is no Greece. There are no Greeks. But then you go to the New Testament, you see Greeks and Grecians all over the place. So, and why did the Messiah in John is keeping the Feast of Dedication? Where'd that come from? He's keeping the dedication in the winter. In Solomon's Porch in John 10, 21, and 22. So where did he get the idea to keep that feast from? Where did he get the idea to go into Solomon's Porch to teach during the Feast of Dedication? Where'd that feast come from? It came from the Maccabees. So there's obviously some form of history that is missing. So I'm going through this book today, this morning actually, and something told me, let's just go through it and see if there happens to be anything about the Greek captivity. And lo and behold, there is. But what struck me the most about reading this book was not really the fact that it mentions the Greek captivity, because, okay, understandable. But what bugged me out was page 265. Give me page 265 and 64. Get 64 first. Page 264, I want that first. Now I want you to blow that map up, please. This is Europe, okay? Now we know that you see Etruria, and you see Italia, and you see Celts above there. Celts right there. Now the Celts was Jake. That was us. Remember my class I went over? It was the Celtiberians. The Celtiberians, who are also in the same lineage of the Silurians, King Arthur and them. The Celts, who of course later on became the Irish. That's us. The Celts is Jakes. Okay? Now, you go down, you see Italia, Etruria, and you see Latium. Now you see Latium there? Latium is where Esau resided. They were called the Latins. That's where the Romans came from. Or that's where the term Latino comes from. Latinos or Romans, Italians, Hispanics were conquered by Hispano-Romans. Mm-hmm. Hispano-Romans are Romans who took over Spain and became who you know as King Ferdinand and Isabella. That's who they are. These are Julius Caesar's offshoots of his soldiers that took over that area. Also known as Vandals, okay? Vandals, Visigoths, same people, okay? So Latium or is the area in which the Latins or the white Europeans resided. But you had black Europeans, which was Japheth. They had this land first. Okay? So you see Latium there, go up again, you're going to see what? Italia, which is Italy, I believe. Italia, which is obviously Italian, Italia, right? So go to page 265 now. Here's what I found very interesting about page 265 and the dates that it happens to give regarding certain things. So bring it down some. No, bring it up some. See right there, the top, the rise of Rome. Now I'm jumping ahead briefly, but I want to show y'all how Esau took over. It says, read it. Who's gonna read for me?
I got you. Says the rise of Rome.
Now look at the date here. It says dates 1000 to 900. That's during the reign of David. The reign of David. Remember, I told y'all that Israel started to spread out and scatter abroad during David and Solomon's reign. Solomon established the naval trading routes and so forth. So we start to sail and travel by sea during Solomon's time. But we already spread ourselves abroad by the time David became king. All right, so that's the perfect time. It's saying question mark because it's questionable. It could be could have happened during the time of either David's time or Solomon's time, or after Solomon's time. Because after David's time, remember, Israel started going to hell off, right? And then that's when Edom gained power. Remember, we read earlier in the book I brought out before, when Jacob began to lose power, Esau increased in power. All right, he's like a freaking Bizarro of Jake. That's what Esau. He's the damn Bizarro of Israel, pretty much. The pagan evil version of us. Evil twin. So read that there.
Yes, sir. 1000 to 900.
1000 to 900. Questionably. Watch this.
Early settlement of Latin tribes on hills near Tiber River crossing.
Early settlement of Latin tribes is Esau. Esau living in Europe. It's giving you the time in which Esau may have first arrived in Europe. Now watch this. Read the next one.
753. Traditional date of the founding of Rome. 7 kings of Rome. Increasing influence and dominance of Etruscans over Rome.
You see that? It says traditional date of the founding of Rome. 7 kings of Rome. Esau, by the way. Increasing influence and dominance of Etruscans over Rome. So who are the Etruscans? Who is that? Let's type in Google real quick, Etruscans. Let's see who they are. Who the hell are the Etruscans? Who could they possibly be? Now, I brought this out episodes ago regarding Japheth and the original inhabitants of Europe. Y'all think Europeans was white people. They were never white people. The original inhabitants of Europe were black people. Right. Japheth. So Google, let's type in Etruscans in Google. And let's go to images. Well, look at that. Let's go to some images, please. Blow this up. Let's see how they look. Oh, wow. Now, in Etruscan art, they deified their women. So what they would do is to distinguish the women from the men, because both men and women have long flowing hair. They paint the women white, but they were black too. So you see, blow it up some. You see that there? Now, of course, you had Edom come up in there and mingle with them, but for the most part, originally they were black. This is Etruscans here. Go on the next image, please. Go out this. There's a certain image I'm looking for. It shows them their faces. Let me see. Go down.
One down there. A large face.
It's like a large brown face.
Go down. It was right there. Keep going. Oh, damn, you lost it. Whatever you did. Go back.
Type in black Etruscans. That's gonna just sum it up. There you go. That's Japheth. Those are the original Italians. Italy, Kittim. That's Kittim. That's who that is. Then the Latins came and took over. And it's giving you the time. It says 753 is the founding of Rome. That means prior to 753, Edom took out the Etruscans. That's an Etruscan right there. You can't tell me, you can't get white out of that. There's no white man in this image here. Go back and go out of that, please. There's more. You had the Etruscans, then the Minoans. Etruscans, Minoans, and another group. Etruscans, Minoans, and something else. Forgot their names. Well, these are all Japhetic. Get any more images of them, of Etruscans? This is showing vases here. This is showing pottery there. What about the images on the right? Okay, go back to Etruscans again. Go back to Etruscans again. We have way more images than before. They're making them scarce. Go back. Go. Goddess. Go. Just remove black and go to Etruscans again. Wait. Go. Click that image right there with the wolf. Now this is how the folklore of Rome was founded. You had two brothers named Remus and Romulus. Okay, and they were fed by a jackal. When you watch the movie The Omen plays on this. And Damien, pretty much, it was the blood of a jackal. These two little baby boys were Edomites, pretty much, were stranded by their parents, and a wolf or whatever the hell this is nursed them, and they got older.
The hell is this?
And then Romulus killed Remus and established Rome. Romulus. That's the folklore behind Rome's founding. Get out of this. Whether it's true or not, I don't really care. What I know is that the Latins is Esau. Go up. Go to Etruscans again. Go to the images of them brown. Go to that one right there, the black to the left. Yeah, that one. Click that one. That's an Etruscan. Okay, see how brown this guy is? That's an Etruscan. Okay, this is Japheth. These are the original, that's Kittim. And then Esau came, the Latins came, the white Latins came and pushed them out and forced them further west. And they ended up becoming what? Your Hawaiians, your Tahitians, your Samoans. They became the Javanese people. Then you had Moab and Ammon got pushed over there by Babylon. They ended up mingling with Japheth over there. And then Moab went over there too. Moab and Ammon pushed over there. And then Elam went over there, migrated over there as well. And then Israel got taken over there as slaves. We mingled with them as well. So it's a whole cosmopolitan. It's a damn amalgamation of nations all mingled to one. In like the Philippines, Malaysia, and blah, blah, blah. But the original inhabitants of the Isles was Japheth. Okay? This is the Etruscan. Go out of this. I'm just showing y'all that the original inhabitants of Europe were black people. Black people. Any more? Get that one right there. Yeah, go right there, the face. Go over the one with the face. Go up. There was a website that showed a whole bunch of them. Click that one again. The black face earlier. Yeah, click that again. Go to the website. Go to the actual site of this. I think someone has a listing of them. Oh, there's the actual web. Let me see. Okay, let me see. Because usually there's a website that show. There we go. Oh, yep. That's it. That's what I was looking for. Click. Yep. If you can, I don't know. You can get it in there. Yeah, I want you to click through these images here. This is what I was trying to find. It's Pinterest, but it gives a whole mixture of the Etruscans' pottery, sculptures. They had a whole culture. Then the Latins came, the white Latins came, conquered them, and established their architecture, all of that, and just borrowed from them. Because Esau has no culture. He just steals things. He comes across a nation. He comes across nations, encounters them, conquers them, pushes them out, and becomes them. Like he did with us.
We got a book, Antiquity. I got to show this book here. The Black Antiquity.
Oh, the bishop into that all the time.
Yeah, we got some of the pictures, some of the vase.
Oh yeah, the vase. That's like the movie Troy with Agamemnon. They got an image in that book. It shows Agamemnon on a vase, and he's black as night. That's Japheth. Some of our arguments say it might be Israel. I don't know. I don't think so. Did Israel travel there? Yes. You can't get anything else out of this?
If you turn on the airdrop, you said you gave him some images, officer?
Yeah.
We got some images we could have for y'all if y'all turn on the airdrop.
And those are from the same book too.
Same book, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
You can also search Etruscan base paintings.
Yeah, they make sure, man, they put their face on those vases because they were like, yeah, I know you're still gonna destroy our images.
What book is that? Antiquities? Or you saw something else? What you got now?
Officer Lacroix.
Which one? That's the one we got here, you said?
All right. Yeah, it's the same one from your book.
Yeah, that's it. That's the one. I only sent him 2 pages. Yeah.
Okay, what's this?
Go down, scroll down.
And
Go
what's
to
that?
the number. Go up. Is it down or you don't have it? Oh, you didn't take the writing. There you go.
What does it say?
Etruscan
Load up.
vase.
Damn, there you go. Etruscan vase.
Of Negro head.
Etruscan vase of Negro head. That's an Etruscan.
In the 4th century.
4th century. Look at the date. 4th century. Remember, Alexander was 3rd century. Was right after that.
Yeah, you got number 31.
These are Japheth. This is Japheth here.
Plate 31. Oh, you didn't get you didn't get the writing.
This is an actual book. Look at this guy. I'm doing this for a reason, y'all. Okay?
It says plastic Etruscan vase in the form of Negro head.
Look at this. Plastic Etruscan vase.
And that was
In the form of a Negro. What does it say?
In the form of the Negro head, second half of 4th century BC.
Second half of 4th century. This is Japheth. That's who this is. That's why I said Etruscan. That's who it is. Hold on a second. Real quick. We're going to see something real fast. 1 second. See something real quick. Oh, and go back to the map again. Go up, Italia, right there. See that yellow right there, Etruria. See that, Etruria. Hold on, should I pronounce? Etruria. Etruria is the Etruscans. That's their land there. Etruria is the term Etruscan comes from. They resided in Etruria. Etruria. Same. That's why I said that sounds like Etruscan. It is. Another term for Etruscan. Etrurian. Etrurian or Etruscan. On. And you have Minoans. Hold on. The Minoans resided in Crete and other Aegean islands. Greece, Mycenae in Greece. One second, let me see something.
And that's one of the reasons too, when you look at all the arts in Rome, they have a lot of black figures.
Yeah.
And they don't explain it, but they know why.
Yep.
They know these people outdates their existence
Yep.
in that land, and that they are antiquity too.
Yep.
You know, but they dominate against us. Why should they give any reverence to these people?
Type in Minoans in Wikipedia. You're going to go to Minoan civilization. M-I-N-O-A-N. M-I-N-O-A-N civilization, Wikipedia.
I remember, was it a Dracula movie? The bishop was pointing out in the art in the back.
Yeah, that was Dracula Untold.
Right.
That was an actual castle from which we were living in.
Yep.
That was our castle, with our images in the background of our castle. You got it. Go down to the picture I want. You're gonna see a Minoan. It's gonna say, watch what it says here. Go down. You'll see it coming up. It's a picture of two people. Keep going. Keep going. They whitewashed that one. Keep going. Right to the map. Keep going. Keep going. Right there. Click that. Watch these guys are called. Load up.
It says Cretans.
Oh, Cretans. These guys resided in the island of Crete. That's Greece.
Bringing gifts to Egypt in the tomb of Recamer under Pharaoh Thutmose III.
So this is Japheth bringing gifts to Egypt. You understand? This is black people here living in Europe.
Right.
Living in Europe. This is black people living in Europe. And the Latins came, Esau came through time and pushed them out. And then Jake came, we came also in time and pushed some of them out as well and mingled with some of them as well. But the original inhabitants of Europe were black people. Always. Esau has no history before Greece. None. Ask any educated white man, let me ask you a question. Where's your history before Greece? Wait, what were you guys doing? Where were you? They'll say, well, we were in Egypt. We were Egyptians. No, you weren't. Egyptians are black.
Delusional? Do you suffer from a mental illness?
Right. So now, enough of that. Let's get into the Greek captivity. Let's get into it. So this is
I like that one.
What I did. I like that soundbite. It's hilarious. Yeah. So what I just showed y'all is the prehistory of the original inhabitants of Rome and the original inhabitants of Greece. They were black people. Kittim, Javin, Tyrus or Thrace, Japheth, who else? Ashkenaz, Japheth, Gog, Russia, Magog. That's Sephardim. This is Japheth. And Esau came and took these lands over because once Israel declined, Esau increased. All right, so now, let's get Daniel 8. I know you guys are like, oh, again? Yes, again. Because last time I was BSing, I ain't going to front. I'm not even going to hold you. It was bad. It was pretty bad.
That was a good class.
What was bad for you, Dick? What was bad for you was good for us.
Okay. I didn't like it, but
we love it.
Right.
I'm glad you guys enjoyed it.
We had a lot of comments like, "Oh wow, Dick, but that was heavy."
Right.
That's right.
The world in the ephod.
Yes. I enjoy going over that because it's been a long time since I've gone over that. So that I enjoy.
So your weakness is our strength.
All praises.
So Daniel 8, we're going to read verse 8 to 9. Let's get into it. So Greek captivity. We're in the Greek captivity, and as you know, by this time, Japheth is gone, and Esau is ruling now as the people that he conquered, the Greeks. Read that.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 8. Therefore, the he-goat waxed very great.
The he-goat is Alexander the Great. He waxed great around 29, they say 20 years old, 19, go ahead.
And when he was strong, the great horn was broken. And for it...
He got sick, and he died within 20 years. Go ahead.
And for it came up
he died within 12 years. He died within 12 years. Go ahead.
And for it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven.
For the 4 notable, because there were actually 5. I'll get into that in a minute. There were actually 5 of them, if you include Antigonus. Antigonus is the 5th. But it's notable because those 4 got together to kill Antigonus. He was mad strong. So they had to join forces. They hated each other. They had to join forces to conquer this dude. Read on.
And out of one of them,
go ahead, one of the 4 notable ones, go ahead,
came forth a little horn.
A little horn that came out of the 4 notable ones. The 4 notable ones would be Lysimachus, Cassander, Ptolemy, and Seleucus. The little horn came out of Seleucus, or the Seleucid line. Seleucus or the Seleucid line. Okay, this little horn is Antiochus. All right, go ahead.
And out of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceeding great toward the south and toward the east.
Toward the south is Egypt, the east is Persia.
And toward the pleasant land.
Pleasant land, of course, you know, is the land of Israel, our land, our homeland. Go ahead.
And it waxed great.
That's all 1's 9.
Yes,
so,
sir.
this is referring to Antiochus. Egypt is the south. Persia is the east. And, of course, the pleasant land is Israel. Give me 1 Maccabees 1:1.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 1. And it happened, after that Alexander, son of Philip the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Kittim.
Right, because they conquered Kittim and took over and became so-called Kittim, whatever, Latins. Go ahead.
Has smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes.
He killed Darius III, king of the Medes and Persian Medes. Go ahead.
That he reigned in his stead.
He reigned in his stead over the Persian Medes. Go ahead.
The first over Greece.
And the Medes is, I gotta forget them. The Medes is Japheth.
Right.
And the Medes are still around today. The Medes are North Iranians. The Medes are North Iranians. That's what they are. All right? And they mingle with the Persians because the Persians and Medes look very, very, very much alike. You can't tell the difference, but they're different lineages. Go ahead.
And made many wars and won many strongholds.
And he conquered all the dark nations. Go ahead.
And slew the kings of the earth.
The dark nations. Go ahead.
And went through to the ends of the earth.
The ends of the old world. Go ahead.
And took spoils of many nations.
Dark nations.
And so much that the earth was quiet before him.
He conquered everybody. He conquered everyone. Go ahead.
Whereupon he was exalted.
He gained power. He was uplifted in honor. Go ahead.
And his heart was lifted up.
He conquered everybody. Go ahead.
And he gathered a mighty strong host and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tributaries unto him. Mm-hmm. And after these things he fell sick and perceived that he should die.
The great horn on the he-goat broken. Go ahead.
Wherefore he called his servants, such as were honorable.
The 4 notable ones, or the 5, you include Antigonus or Antigonus, that'd be the 5. Go ahead.
And had been brought up with him from his youth, and parted his kingdom among them while he was yet alive.
Right, those 5. Go ahead.
So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died.
He reigned 12 years, so he conquered at 20, died at 32, and then it's 4 or 5 until they conquered the 5th one. So you don't really count him. They took over his possessions, his lands. Go ahead, and began to fight over them. Go ahead.
And his servants bare rule, every one in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves.
These 4 notable ones put crowns, but they all became kings of their own, of the realms he took over, and divided among themselves. Watch this.
So did their sons after them many years.
They're going to go into this. Jesus Christ. Their sons after them put on crowns as well, and blah, blah, blah. Go ahead.
And evils were multiplied in the earth.
And when this nation came into being, evil multiplied. It was already evil on the earth as it is. But when these guys came into power, evil increased. It multiplied more. Because this man is the border of wickedness. He's the devil the Bible speaks of. So when he's around, he's ruling, evil multiplies.
Right.
No, it's undeniable. Read verse 10 now.
Verse 10.
And that's probably one of the reasons why they're trying to say the Apocrypha is not canon.
We're going to get into that.
Yep.
We're going to get into that in a few seconds. Go ahead.
And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus, surnamed Epiphanes.
Epiphanes means God manifest. But this man was insane. He believed he believed that he was God on earth. So he called himself God manifest. And others refer to him as Antiochus Epiphanes, meaning the madman.
Yeah.
Antiochus the mad, the nutcase. Epiphanes, they called him. But he called himself Antiochus Epiphanes, meaning God manifest on earth.
Quick question,
Yeah.
Dave. Would you say Job 9:24 is different time period, different captivities, or relating to one particular one? Like as we reading right here.
It's going into when they started.
The world has
now.
given to the hands of the wicked.
It's going into so now they didn't stop ruling.
Right,
The
right.
Greeks and Greco-Romans,
Yep.
and then Spain, and then Portugal. And
Yep.
then never
So in
stopped.
other words, all a period of times where they slaughtered, they killed people, Job 9:24
Yeah.
pertains.
Yeah,
All
pretty much.
praises. Yes, sir.
Now, all nations are wicked. I'm not going to sit up and make it a black and white thing. All nations, but this nation, the Bible says that evil multiplied when
right.
they came into
Yep,
rulership.
yep.
Because they're the worst of the worst.
Yep.
And that's why when you read about them in Malachi, the wicked, the W is capitalized.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a
They're
border.
the main ones.
Border.
It's the main one.
Meaning the beginning and the end of wickedness. The Bible says. So now, First Maccabees 1:10 talks about Antiochus. We read that in Daniel 8. That little horn was going into this guy right here. Antiochus Epiphanes. Now, Daniel 8 and 10.
The book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 10. And it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground.
So, read again.
And it waxed great,
The it is the little horn. It waxed great. Go ahead.
even to the host of heaven,
Even to the host, meaning the host of heaven is referring to Israel. Go ahead.
and it cast down some of the host.
The host of heaven is referring to the priests, the Levite priests. They're the host of heaven because they're the ones that do with the Lord directly through the sacrificing and things of that nature. So they're the host of heaven. That's what it's referring to, the priests, the Levites. Go ahead.
And of the stars to the ground.
The stars is the nation of Israel as a whole. Okay? As a whole. Go ahead.
And stamped upon them.
And stamped what upon them? Hellenization. They Hellenized us, meaning they Europeanized us. Now, prove that the stars, or host of heaven, is Israel. Because somebody's saying, oh, you know that. You're making things up. You're pulling it out of your behind. That's a lie, right? Give me real quick.
Your black lips.
Give me Genesis 37, verse 5, regarding Joseph's dream that he told to his parents regarding stars. To point out who the stars he sticks. The Greeks go into space and stamp on stars, literally? Is that what it's going into? No. Did he go and he stamp on planets? No. It's figurative, symbolic, and allegory regarding the stars he cast down.
The book of Genesis, chapter 37 and verse 5.
Remember, the Most High said that Israel is above all nations upon the earth. So that's why God calls Israel stars. Where are stars? They're above us. Genesis 37, verse 5.
Genesis chapter 37, verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more.
So Joseph, these are our forefathers, the 12 patriarchs. And Joseph, being the youngest of the 12 patriarchs, he was loved and favored by his father, Jacob. And for that, being a good boy and being favored, his brothers, our forefathers, unfortunately, hated him. So on top of the hatred they had for him, he would have dreams and visions. So read verse 5 again. Or what verse you were in?
That was verse 5, yes,
Read
sir.
again.
Verse 5. And Joseph dreamed a dream, and he told it his brethren, and they hated him yet the more.
Hated him even more. Go ahead.
And he said unto them, Hear, I pray you, this dream which I have dreamed. For behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and lo, my sheep arose, and also stood upright. And behold, your sheaves stood round about, and made obeisance to my sheep.
So my sheep stood up upright, and your sheep bowed to mine. Go ahead.
And his brethren said to him, Shalt thou indeed reign over
So our
us?
forefathers are pretty smart. They can interpret and say, yo, man, you trying to say you're going to rule over us? You going to be our king or something? They got mad. Go ahead.
Or shalt thou indeed have dominion over us?
Watch this.
And they hated him yet the more for his dreams and for his words.
They hated it. This dude's disrespectful, man. We already don't like you. Now you're going to have these damn dreams about you being our king? Go ahead.
And he dreamed yet another dream,
Damn, it's added insult to injury. Go ahead.
and told it his brethren, and
his
said,
brothers. Mhm.
Behold, I have dreamed a dream more. And behold, the sun and the moon
Behold, the sun and the moon. Go ahead.
and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
And the 11 stars made obeisance to me. Who are the 11 stars? His brothers. Who's the sun? His father. Who's the moon? His mother. But here's heavy part about that part. The father is the sun, and the mom is the moon. Which light is greater? The sun is.
Yep.
That's who runs the house.
Damn.
That's the greater light and the lesser light. Then there are 11 stars that are smaller lights, subject to those great lights.
Dang.
11 stars are his brothers. If you count him as 12. Go ahead.
Verse 10.
No, it says made obeisance to me. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Made obeisance to me. And he told it to his father
Watch, he told his father, watch this.
and to his brethren.
And his brother, go ahead.
And his father rebuked him.
So if father didn't like that, say, hey man, listen man, you be disrespectful. Because that's his father now. Go ahead.
And said unto him, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Shall I and thy mother
The sun, the moon,
and thy brethren
11 stars.
indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth?
Right. So father didn't understand. But the point I'm bringing out, is the fact that the father's the sun, the mom is the moon, and the 11 stars, the stars represent Israel there. All right? That's why I brought that out for. So let's go back to Daniel 8:11.
Yes, sir. The book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 11.
You also read about that in Revelation 12, the woman with the 12 stars, the crown of 12 stars in the head, clothed with the sun and the moon. All that goes back to Genesis. That's where John got it from. Genesis there, okay?
The book of Daniel, chapter 8, verse 11.
Yeah.
Yea, he magnified himself, even to the prince of the hosts, and by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
Right. So read 11 again. I'm sorry.
Yea, he magnified himself,
He is the little horn. Go ahead.
even to the prince of the hosts.
The prince of the host is the host of heaven. That's the Levite priest. Watch this. Going to say it.
And by him the daily sacrifice was taken away.
Why? Because he took away or corrupted the hosts of heaven, or the prince of the hosts, which would be the Levites, that did sacrifice that dealt with the Lord directly. He corrupted the priests. And once that was done, the stars fell too, because the Levite priests were the leaders of us. Go ahead.
And the place of his sanctuary was cast down.
And the temple was cast down. It was defiled, disrespected. Go ahead.
And it-
Sir. Yeah, read on. Read on.
And an host was given him against the daily
The
sacrifice.
host is still dealing with the Levites. Once again, that's the host. Go ahead.
By reason of transgression.
By reason of what?
Transgression.
Because they sinned against the Lord. They started becoming what? Hellenized. I said earlier, he stamped upon them. Stamped what upon them? Indoctrination. He indoctrinated them. Doctrines of what? Of Greece. Europeanizing the people. And he had to influence the leaders first, which would be the Levites, of course. And then eventually, what ended up happening? Israel fell suit. That's why Nehemiah was blasting the elders first, the priests, because they were the leaders during that time. So the white man said, okay, you guys are the leaders. We got something to do. I got something for y'all. And then he started with Levi, the temple, and so forth, defiled their holy sanctuary and their leaders. Then it'll just trickle down. Domino effect. Go ahead.
And it cast down the truth to the ground.
And by doing so, the truth, the commandments of God, was cast down to the ground. Go ahead.
And it practiced.
And it, meaning the wickedness, the transgression, the sin practice. Go ahead.
And prospered.
And it spread. It spread. It spread among our people. That's 12, right? It's end of 12?
Yes, sir.
So I want. Now, get me 1 Maccabees 1, verse 11.
The book of 1 Maccabees, chapter 1 and verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men.
They went out of Israel, wicked men. Go ahead.
Who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Why? Because of the influence that the Greeks brought. They brought the money, they brought the bribery. The priests are saying, hey, you know what? Shoot.
Bring the women.
Bring the women, the fame. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay,
Boy,
yeah.
ain't no way.
Right, ain't no way, boy. Read again.
In those days went there out of Israel wicked men who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Right, we're better with them than without them. Go ahead.
So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. Whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem.
I think I broke this thing. Oh, I'm not paying attention to you. I'm not paying attention to you reading. Go ahead, read
Verse 13.
Read 11 again, please. I'm trying to fix the top. Go ahead, read 11.
Verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men,
Right.
who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us.
Like a covenant with the heathen. I went over this last week about the Isaiah 28:15 covenant with death. Go ahead.
For since we departed from them,
Since departing from the nation, separating from the nations, go ahead.
we have had much sorrow.
We're not happy. Being with the nations makes us happy. Remember, Nehemiah did the same. Nehemiah said, separate from them. But during the time of the Greeks, what did we say? Being separate from them, we're not happy. We want the heathens around us, like we are today. Go ahead. So we reverted right back to the evil Nehemiah and Ezra had cleansed and reformed. We're back at it again in Greek time. Go ahead.
So this device pleased them well.
This plan pleased Israel well, wicked Israel well. Go ahead.
Then certain of the people were so forward therein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinances of the heathen.
Who gave them license to do after the ordinances, the laws, the customs, the culture of the heathens, of the so-called white man, the Greeks, the Europeans, Edomites, biblically. Go ahead.
Whereupon they built a place of exercise at
They
Jerusalem.
built a gym next to the temple. They built a gym next to, historically, next to the temple, or a gymnasium. The word gymnasium means a place to be naked. That's what it means. Gymnasium. Place to be naked. The naked place.
Damn.
Go ahead.
According to the customs of the heathen.
According to the customs of the Greeks. Go ahead.
And made themselves uncircumcised.
Now, how you do that? Can you put the skin back on? No. Meaning we made ourselves heathens. We became Greeks because the Greeks were uncircumcised. That was their culture. We made ourselves like them, uncircumcised. Go ahead.
And forsook the holy covenant.
Going back to us making ourselves what? Uncircumcised. Go ahead.
And joined themselves to the heathen.
And joined ourselves to the heathen. We began to assimilate or integrate into the Greek culture and fashion and language. This is more than This is more than adaptation. This is straight up integration, assimilation. That's what this is. I can't even say integrate because integrate means two things coming together and they remain individual. That's not integration. This is assimilation, where one thing merges into the other and may become one. That's assimilation. We begin to assimilate into Greek society. Okay, read on.
And were sold to do mischief.
Because we made money. We sold out. We sold to do mischief. Because rewards came behind this evil. Fame, fortune, women, power, wealth. So, let's get into it. Let's get real quick. I want you to get me second Ezra real quick. I'm a sidebar for a moment. I'm gonna take out what you'll see them doing. Y'all gonna figure it out. What are you going to second Ezra 7 for? That's Persia. Yeah, it is. But I want something out here that's very important. Second Ezra 7, 28 and 29. I went over this during the time of the Persian captivity, but it's important. Watch.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 28.
Bring it out.
For my son Jesus shall be revealed with those that be with him.
My son Jesus, the Messiah, shall be revealed with those that be with him, meaning the disciples. Watch this.
And they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years.
Those who are around when my son's revealed in his disciples, it will be 400 years after you, Ezra. So when you examine the history of Ezra, the Persian captivity in Rome, it's 400 years. 400 years after. So the Bible's, this is accuracy right here. Right? From Persia to Rome, we're talking 400 years. Right? Watch this.
After these years shall my son Christ die, and all men that have life.
And those that be with him. Back in verse 28, the disciples will die along with him. Not all of them, but most of them will die with him after the 400 years later, right? I want you to type in Wikipedia, intertestamental. Intertestamental.
That's not a Negro word.
That's not a
Not a
Negro word.
Negro word at all.
I have a feeling this word is going to take us there.
Right.
It's going to take us there.
Intertestamental.
Damn.
Because, you see, the white man's not going to tell you that the Apocrypha is canon. he'll use other fancy words. I came across this word last night when I was going over my class, working on my class. And then I came across this word in this Bible Maps and Charts book I showed y'all earlier about how Esau or the Latins took over Etruria or took over Europe, period. So,
Zoom in a little more.
did I type it in correctly? Intertestamental?
You're missing an S.
I may have to.
Intertestamental.
Intertestamental.
Yeah, you got it. Or go down to period. Go down.
Yes, period.
Go
I
down,
want that,
yep.
yes. That's what I want.
Timeline.
I want you to go to Wikipedia, click that.
There we go.
Now remember what we just read. Remember what we just read about Ezra. Till Ezra, 400 years, my son Christ shall appear, and those that be with him. Read this real, please. Blow this up. I don't need that left side. Move it over.
All right.
If you can't, it's fine. Read that.
The intertestamental period.
The intertestamental period means what? It means in between testaments. What testaments is it in between? The Old and the New. What period is between Old and New? Watch. Read this.
Or Deuterocanonical. Deuterocanonical period.
It's all right. It's not what we normally use. Or the Deuterocanonical period. Okay? So remember, the Protestants are the ones who are responsible for removing the Apocrypha out of the Bible. They were responsible for it. And the Catholics, or Orthodox Catholics, upheld it as sacred. But what happened was, during the time of, like, I guess you say the Dark Ages, the Catholic Church was pretty much the enemy of us for ages. From the time of Roman Empire to the time of Spain, Portugal with the Inquisition, all the way into the time of King James. You had a thing called the Gunpowder Plot. The Gunpowder Plot was the plot in which the Catholics or popish persons were plotting to have King James translators blown up inside of a building where the Bible was being translated so it could be published for everyone to read on their own. Because the Catholic Church had dominion over Britain for many years. And when you go to church, the Catholics had it where you had to learn. They had to open the Bible open, and they would teach you. You couldn't have the Bible on your own. You had to learn from them. They had to have the Bible open, and they would teach you themselves. King James said, why? It's to be published for all to read it. We're all Christians, right? Why only the Catholic have a Bible? No. So King James hated the Catholics. And King James did not believe that the Apocrypha was sacred or holy as the Catholics believed, which it was. The Catholics had that right. Esau had that right. And the Jake Spawn behind him had it right. But the King James, being a Christian, the Christian that they were in that era, they rejected the canonicity or the canonicity of the Apocrypha. They deemed it as books of edification and understanding, but they didn't deem it as how you say, genuine as the Old and New Testament. That's why when you go into your King James Version Bible, it has the Old Testament. Let me show y'all. It says books of the Old Testament here, and then it says books of the New Testament here, and it has the Apocrypha in the middle, because it's separate from it's separated from the two. Because really, the Apocrypha is part of the Old. It's part of the Old, but they said no. We're going to put it in the Bible, but it's separated. Because they didn't believe that it was sacred as the Catholics upheld it to be sacred, even though it is sacred, based upon what we're reading here. Okay?
So Dick, is that why the pastor says the Apocrypha is in the Bible,
but not of the Bible? Yes.
Hell is this?
So they refer to it as the intertestamental period or the in-between testament.
That's how they put it in between the new.
That's why the Apocrypha is in between. The table of contents is in between the Old and New. Read that, please.
The intertestamental period or deuterocanonical period is the period of time between the events of the proto-canonical books.
The proto-canonical books is going into the Old Testament. Go ahead.
And the New Testament.
And the New. The time between the Old and New Testament. Go ahead.
Traditionally, it is considered to cover roughly 400 years.
Whoa.
Hey, pull up.
Dang.
Pull up. Pull up that.
Traditionally, it's considered to cover what?
It is traditionally, it is considered to cover roughly 400 years.
Spanning what time?
Spanning the ministry of Malachi to the appearance of John the Baptist in the early 1st century AD.
That's from the Persian captivity to Rome. That's from Ezra to Christ and the disciples.
Right.
400 years. Let's go back to Ezra 7:28.
So read that again,
400
man.
years.
Read
7:28 again.
that again.
Second Ezra, chapter 7 and verse 28. For my son Jesus shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years.
Intertestamental period. 400 years he's going to show up. Go ahead.
After these years,
After those 400 years, go ahead. Well, after that time period, go ahead.
shall my son Christ die,
In the years he shows up, which will be 400 years from now, he'll show up and he'll be killed. Go ahead.
and all men that have life.
And the disciples following him will be killed as well. Not all, but most. Now, go back to this now.
So intertestamental, aka apocrypha.
Yes. Yes. Keep going. It's going to say it.
It is roughly
Contingent.
with the Second Temple period.
It goes along with the Second Temple because that's Malachi. Go ahead. That goes back to Esther. That goes back to Maccabees. That's the Second Temple time.
Right.
Go ahead.
And encompasses the age
Of what?
Of Hellenistic Judaism.
That's Greece. And encompasses the age of Hellenistic Judaism, when the Jews observed the commandments of God, but they adapted to Greek culture, meaning they spoke the Greek language. And the Bible is translated into Greek, the Septuagint. That's the Hellenistic Judaism is talking about. Watch this.
It is known by some members of the Protestant community as the 400 silent years.
The 400 silent years. Why?
Because it was a span where no new prophets were raised, and God revealed nothing new to his people.
After Malachi, where the prophets at? Where they at? Where they go?
That's
So they call it the 400 silent years.
That's the period where the scripture talks about a famine of the word.
Right. But you had, remember, later on, the Lord raised up the Hasmonean family and so forth. This is after that. Go ahead. Remember, they said we should wait here until a prophet shall arise and tell us what to do. They didn't know what to do. Go ahead.
Many of the deuterocanonical books accepted as scripture by Roman Catholicism.
Deuterocanonical books is called the Apocrypha. Click that link, please. It should say it.
Yep. Scroll down.
Oh, go back.
Go up. What are we reading? Tobit, Judith. This is the Esther, 1st, 2nd Maccabees, Solomon, Sirach, Baruch, letter of Jeremiah. This is the Daniel, 1st Ezra, 2nd Ezra, prayer of Manasseh, Psalm 51. That's pseudo. That's madness. Psalm 51 is madness. 3rd Maccabees is a repeat of 1st and 2nd. 4th Maccabees, Odes is madness too. But those are called pseudographical books. But notice the King James translators left in the proper books. Left in 2nd and 1st Maccabees. 3rd Maccabees, the Ethiopian Jews, the Phalashas, we had 3rd Maccabees, which repeats 1st and 2nd Maccabees, so that's not really a problem. But 4th Maccabees is insane. I read that. That's madness. Got it. The point is that deuterocanonical is a fancy word for apocrypha. Or what? Intertestamental. It's the same thing.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Accepted as scripture by Roman Catholicism and Eastern Orthodoxy, were written during this time.
Go ahead. Watch this.
This is
This is
also the time when many pseudographical works were produced.
Right, that goes into your 4th Maccabees, Book of Enoch, your Jasher, your Psalm 151. That's pseudo, meaning false writings that came after that. So the King James translators is like, this is BS. And that was scrapped. Freaking planets is fallen angels, mermaids, elves and rainbows and leprechauns. You dumb niggas believe in that stupidness. So that's pseudographical books.
Yo, those
Because there is no, I'm sorry if I forget my thought,
Yes, sir.
officer. There is no book of Enoch. No, it's not written. It says Enoch said. It don't say he wrote. It says he said, he spoke, he prophesied. And those words were passed down through oral tradition. It don't mention no book of Enoch in the Bible anywhere. Now, as for Jasher, that book was gone. It's removed. That book completely contradicts the Bible. And Esau made it up. It's like 3 different versions of it. And it was burned. Right. A lot of books were destroyed. During the time of Babylon, when they destroyed it, the Greeks destroyed it. It was burned. The Bible went through numerous destructive periods. So that's why Christ said, real quick, Revelation 2. Hold fast that which I have till I come. Christ said, what you have now, hold fast till I come. You have enough books right now in your Bible to teach you how to keep the commandments, be saved, and live. That's it. You niggas trying to be deep, talk about mermaids and dinosaurs and Freddy Krueger. Y'all retarded.
Facts.
You better shut your black lips.
The book of Revelation, chapter 2, verse 25. But that which ye have already, hold fast till I come. And he that overcometh and keepeth my works unto the end, to him will I give power over the nations.
Right, so hold fast that till I come means hold fast the books that you have with you, left with you. Hold on to that and rest content. Stop trying to be deep and mystical, magical. You're going to lose your mind, be bugged out, and end up in a damn insane asylum.
Are you delusional? Do you suffer from a mental illness?
Right, that's going to happen.
D.
Yeah.
Esau tried to throw Harry Potter in there with them books.
Yep.
Trying to show you little short white man with size 21 feet.
Right. Damn petroleum.
Biden look like Schmeagol right now.
Petroleum. Gasoline. Get out of here, man. Get the glasses. Damn. Voldemort. Get out of here, man. That ain't in the Bible. That's not in the Bible. Freaking magic trains and freaking broomsticks and balls flying with wings. Come on, man.
That's crazy.
That's a good movie, though. I ain't gonna front, man. That movie like 8 parts. It was good. It was pretty good.
I think that's where they got the magic bus from.
Yeah, the magic school bus.
Right.
IUIC has a magic school bus. We kidnap children and all that madness, and you guys are retarded. All right, so where we at? So, is there any more of this? No, read the rest of it.
Yes, sir.
Watch this.
An understanding of the events of the intertestamental period.
Wait, watch this. An understanding of the events of the intertestamental period does what?
Provides context to the New Testament.
You see that?
Wow.
Do you see that?
Wow.
You have to put it in proper context.
So the Apocrypha puts the New Testament statements in context.
Wow.
So when you read about the Greeks, you read about the freaking Grecians, the Gentiles, the uncircumcision, the intertestamental period, the Apocrypha explains the New Testament. It explains what it's talking about. The Apocrypha is a necessity. That's why they said. That's why the King James translator said, we believe in the Apocrypha, but we don't hold it as sacred as the Catholics do. But it is edifying because it bridges the gap between the old and the new. That's why in the table of contents in the KJV, it's in the middle. Because it bridges the gap between the old and the new.
It also contains
It's the intertestamental.
Contains the Greek history.
Yes, it contains the history that Daniel spoke about in Daniel 7. The leopard.
And that's a big
And
history
Daniel 8.
to understand the New Testament.
You have to know the Old Testament to understand the New. The Apocrypha brings the New Testament in proper context, man. I don't need no more. That right there is a bomb in itself. I didn't know that was even there.
That's right.
Hey, y'all lucky this mic is on the stand, or else would have been dropped already.
Yeah.
Saying y'all
Got plaster this and bring this out the camp.
Right. So let's go back to let's go to first. We stopped at first Maccabees. 15?
Verse
15, yes. First Maccabees 11, 15.
Let's go to second Maccabees 3-1. Let's get into it. What time is it now? 2:33. Should I take a break? I don't want to, man. I'm going to get into this thing.
You're on fire, Dick.
Give me 2:33. Give me 10 minutes before you go on break. Because I know some of y'all are like, yo, man, don't stop. I don't want to stop either. I'm actually excited for this topic. Second Maccabees 3 and verse 1.
The book of Second Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 1.
Now, Now remember, I said to you earlier that the third Maccabees, which is not really an apocrypha, it's just pretty much a recap of the first and second. That's all it is, which is found in the Ethiopian Bible, which has the apocrypha, but it also contains pseudographical writings as well within it. So the King James Version Bible, being the best there is, not the oldest but the best, contains the accurate books. So when you read Second Maccabees is the introduction really to what takes place in First Maccabees. It's like a recap. So like, for example, Genesis 10, the recap of Genesis 10 is Genesis 11. The recap of Genesis 1 is Genesis 2. Genesis 2 tells you what the Lord, how he rested and this and that, and it gives you details of what happened in chapter 1. Like we read about, let us make man in our own image. That's chapter 1. Then it says he made the rib, all that. That's not in chapter 1. That's in chapter 2.
Right.
2 elaborates on 1. Likewise, 2 elaborates on 1. Genesis 11 elaborates on, that's how it became the city of Babel. Why they called Babel for? Because Genesis 11, the languages were confounded. So Genesis 11 elaborates on Genesis 10. Genesis 2 elaborates on Genesis 1. Second Maccabees elaborates on First Maccabees. Hope you understand. And Third Maccabees elaborates on both. So it's kind of a waste of time. All right? So Second Maccabees 3 and 1.
The book of Second Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 1. Now when the holy city was inhabited with all peace, and the laws were kept very well, because of the godliness of Onias the high priest.
So Onias was the high priest during this time. Onias was the high. This is before, not Athaius. This is before the Antiochus came in and defiled the temple. This is before we was going into madness. During Onias' time, we were in complete righteousness. Onias the high priest. Go ahead.
Because of the godliness of Onias the high priest and his hatred of wickedness.
He kept Israel in line. This is the line of Ezra and them. Ezra, Joshua, he's in that line. Okay? High priest, go ahead.
It came to pass that even the kings themselves did honor the place.
Now, hold on a second. Before you go there, let's focus a little bit on Onias. This is Onias the priest. This Onias the priest is Onias the third. There was the first, there was a second. This is the third Onias. Onias the third. Okay? Now, real quick, give me Sirach 50 and 1. Real quick. So this guy right here is Onias the third, and he is the son of Simon the second.
The book of Sirach, chapter 50 and verse 1.
Right.
Simon the high priest, the son of Onias, who in his life repaired the house again, and in his days fortified the temple.
So this Simon is the father of the Onias we just read about. This is Simon the second, and his father's name was Onias the second. Onias had Simon the second, and Simon had Onias the third. See how confusing that is? So I'm gonna say it again. To say he's lost. This is his tribe, but he's lost. I'm gonna help you. I'm gonna help you.
Thank you, Dick. Thank you.
Nah, it's confusing. Simon, this Simon right here is Simon the second. Okay? And his son's name was Onias the third. But Simon's father's name is Onias the second. So Onias 2 had Simon 2, and Simon 2 had Onias 3. You got it?
Somewhat.
Okay, I'm not the only one. All right, so Levi.
This is Simon the second. Okay, this is Simon the second right here. So his father was Simon what? Simon the what?
First.
Simon the first. So Simon the second right here, and then Simon the second had Onias the third.
Okay.
Simon the second's father's name was Onias the second.
Okay.
So Onias the second had Simon the second, and Simon the second had Onias the third, named after his father. So Onias
like
number 2 has Simon number 2,
It's like a-
and Simon the 2 had Onias 3.
Got you.
You think that's confusing? We're taking it to the Greeks. That ain't shit.
So it looks,
I'm just getting started in confusion. You're not gonna be up in here doing crack after a while.
it's like grandfather, father, great grandfather.
Right, we did the same
and
thing
son.
pretty much. This is simpler. That's nothing. This is nothing to me. This is simpler. When you get to the Greeks, it's going to get real bad. This is my last SH. I'm sorry. But that I hate it. That's how much I hate it. So I'll say it again. So Simon the high priest was around during the Second Temple period. He helped fortify it and so forth in this time period, following after Ezra and Joshua and Ezra. This is Simon the second, the son of Onias. Onias, he's the son of Onias the second. And then he had a son, Onias the third. Okay? That's who this is. So go back to 2nd Maccabees again.
Yes, sir.
3 and 1 again.
2nd Maccabees, chapter 3 and verse 1. Now when the holy city was inhabited with all peace, and the laws were kept very well, because of the godliness of Onias the high priest.
Onias, son of Simon. Go ahead.
And his hatred of wickedness. And it came to pass that even the kings themselves did honor the place and magnify the temple with their best gifts.
Right, so he was kept so righteous that even the heathens came to offer their best gifts. Go ahead.
And so much that Seleucus.
And so much that Seleucus. Remember I told you before, the 4 notable ones. You had Ptolemy, Cassander, Lysimachus, and Seleucus. This guy comes from the line of Seleucus, or the Seleucid line. Seleucid line. Go ahead.
And so much that Seleucus, king of Asia,
go ahead,
of his own revenues bear all the costs belonging to the service of the sacrifices.
So Israel was in such righteous order, even the heathens gave us props and funded our sacrifices and so forth and revenues. We was in order. We were impressive. This shall be your wisdom and understanding in what? In the sight of the nations. Deuteronomy 4, verse 6. All right? So, Seleucus, king of Asia. This Seleucus, king of Asia, is Seleucus the Fourth. Philopator. Seleucus the Fourth, Philopator. You got to remember that name, because I'm going to go back to it later on in history, later on in the series. Seleucus the Fourth, Philopator. Philopator means love of the father. Philo, as in pedophile. A phile means lover of children. That's what pedophile means.
Damn.
It's a bad example, but that's what it means. Or a philanthropist. You're a philanthropist. Means you love people. Philanthropist, I believe it means. Or the world, whatever.
Supposedly, yeah. But
So
what's his?
and Pater means father, love of the father.
Yeah, what's his name? Is one of those got those titles. So what's
Yeah,
his
Bill
name?
Gates.
Yeah, but he don't love people.
He does not.
Hell no.
Right, but that's the term. Philo means love. Pater means father. Mater's mother. Pater's father. Like patriarch, matriarch. Pater, mater. Same thing. Philopator. Philopator, whatever you pronounce it. I don't really know. I don't really care to pronounce it. That's the term. That's their titles. So Seleucus the Fourth, Philopator. Seleucus the Fourth, Philopator. Okay? Go to Daniel 11. Let's go to Daniel 11, verse 4. I'm gonna help shout to y'all out, man. He asked me this, help you out, brother. You asked me this yesterday. I said no. I'm gonna go over it today. Daniel 11.
The book of Daniel, chapter 11 and verse 4.
Yeah.
And when he shall stand up, his kingdom shall be broken, and shall be divided toward the 4 winds of heaven.
He shall stand up, as going back to that he-goat, where the horn was broken. It's Alexander again. And what? His land shall be divided into what?
Toward the 4 winds of heaven.
Divided by 4 notable ones. Okay, go ahead.
And not to his posterity.
Because he was a homosexual. He left behind no children. Alexander had no children to leave behind his lands. He conquered. Go ahead.
Nor according to his dominion which he ruled.
And they did not rule according to how he ruled, because he ruled peacefully. He ruled, conquered, and he didn't bother Israel. But his men and their children would bother us and fight over our land, or portions of it, and we get caught in between. We get caught in the middle of it. We got caught in the middle of it. Go ahead.
For his kingdom shall be plucked up, even for others beside those.
Meaning the four beside his own posterity and his own dominion, his own rules. They would change those things. The 4 notable ones would change those things Alexander had set forth in the beginning when he was alive. Now verse 5. Watch this.
And the king of the...
Like I said before, you think that Simon the second thing and Onias the third thing was a confusion? No. This gets way worse. Go ahead.
And the king of the south shall be strong.
The king of the south is Egypt. That's the Ptolemies. The Ptolemies ruled Egypt. They're the kings of the south. Not T.I. Okay? It's not T.I. It's not Luda. The king of the south in this context is the Ptolemies. Go ahead.
And one of his princes. And he shall be strong above him and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion.
That's it. Read verse 5 again.
Yes, sir. And the king of the south shall be strong.
The king of the south is going into Ptolemy. Ptolemy first Soter. Ptolemy the first Soter. That's what it's referring to. That's one of Alexander the Great's generals, the four. Ptolemy the first Soter. Go ahead.
And one of his princes.
One of his princes is Seleucus the first Nicator. So you had Ptolemy the first Soter. That's the king of the south. And Seleucus the first. Remember, earlier we read about Seleucus the fourth. Philopator. This is his great-great-grandfather, Seleucus the first. Nicator. Okay? This is the king of the north. His princes. Go ahead.
Is he the one that established the Seleucus?
Right. Well, Seleucus, this is the first. Right, this is the first. He established it. Yes. Go ahead.
And he shall be strong above him.
So Ptolemy will be strong above Seleucus. Go ahead.
And have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion.
Right. It'll expand. Go ahead.
And in the end of years, they shall join themselves together.
So these two guys, Ptolemy's line and Seleucus's line, would join together. They would make an alliance. Watch this.
For the king's daughter of the south.
So the Ptolemy's daughter of the south. Now, when you go into this history, what time is it? Y'all ain't even remind me. It's 2:46. Oh, now y'all remind me. Oh, thank you. After I figured it out, y'all remind me. Thank you. I'm gonna finish this first, and then we'll take a break. This is a lot to process, even for me. So it says joint forces. So Ptolemy the first. It says, so the king of the south is Ptolemy the first, Soter. I better write this down. And the king of the north, his princes there, is Seleucus the first Nicator, king of the north. Okay? What happened? What you laughing at?
I'm sorry, D. Go ahead. I'm sorry. We'll let you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Ptolemy the first is king of the south. Seleucus the first, Nicator, is king of the north. Not Jon Snow. This is Seleucus. King of the north.
King of the north.
No. Then it says they'll join forces because Ptolemy the first Soter, he dies. So his son, Ptolemy the second, Philadelphus, they make an alliance with the son of, let's see. Hold on. With Antiochus II. Antiochus II, Theos. So Ptolemy and Seleucus have sons. Ptolemy the first, Soter, and Seleucus the first, Nicator, they have sons. Ptolemy the second, Philadelphus. Now, Ptolemy the second, Philadelphus, it is rumored, I'll say because it's open-ended, it is rumored that the Septuagint was commissioned by him. When the Bible is translated into Greek, the Septuagint, it was under his reign that it took place. Ptolemy the second, Philadelphus. Now, Philadelphus is probably why Officer was laughing. Maybe, I don't know, because it sound like over here. That's where Philadelphia comes from.
Exactly.
Philadelphia. To your brotherly love, which we know damn well that ain't the truth.
Far from it.
Damn. So Ptolemy the second, Philadelphus, and Antiochus the second, Theos, make an alliance to join Syria and Egypt as one. So the daughter of the south is referring to referring to Ptolemy's daughter, right. Berenice. Yep. Her name is Berenice. All right. Ptolemy's daughter is Berenice. All right. So read again, verse 6. We got to take our time. This verse is very detailed and annoying. Read again.
And in the end of years, they shall join themselves together.
These two kings, king of the south and north, referring to Ptolemy Philadelphus and Antiochus Theos. Antiochus Theos is king of the north. The king of the south's daughter, Berenice, was to marry Antiochus II. Go ahead.
For the king's daughter of the south shall come to the king of the north.
Berenice shall marry Antiochus II, Seleucus the first son. Go ahead.
To make an agreement.
To make an alliance to join Syria and Egypt together as one. Asia Minor as one. Go ahead.
But she shall not retain the power of the arm.
She will not retain, but Berenice will not maintain the power of her husband's rulership because she was going to die. Berenice was going to be killed. Go ahead.
Neither shall he stand, nor his arm.
And he was going to die. Antiochus is going to die as well. Go ahead.
But she shall be given up, and they that...
Meaning she's going to be removed. She'll be gone, being died. Go ahead.
And they that brought her.
They that brought her is going to her servants. Remember, she's at a wedding. Her servants, her bridesmaids, they all get put to death along with her. Go ahead.
And he that begot her.
He that this is two focus. The margin says he whom she brought forth. So it's going into either her father, because her father died. Her father died shortly before this took place, or is going into her being killed and her son that she had by Antiochus is killed, which is true. Her son was killed and she was killed by Antiochus.
I think it was an ex-wife, I believe.
I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. Go ahead. His ex-wife, Laodice, had this woman killed. Yes, Laodice, who was Antiochus' first wife. He got mad at Laodice, put her away,
for leaving,
put her away, and married Berenice. But then he decides to remarry Laodice, and Laodice kills her and poisons him.
The hell is this?
And kills her son too. Go ahead.
And they that brought her, and he that begot her, and he that strengthened her
husband
in these times
got killed. So Antiochus II Theos had a wife named Laodice. So Laodique, in certain spellings, or Laodice, I say Laodice. She was his original wife. He married Berenice out of anger towards her. So then, I guess she woos him, whatever. He decides to remarry her, Laodice, and then she poisons Antiochus II, Theos, kills his new wife, and kills their new son, and then she puts up her son by him. His name is and puts him as king, and his name is Seleucus the first, Callinicus.
Damn.
Seleucus the second, Callinicus. Because the first was Seleucus the first, Nicator. Then you had, and then after that you had Antiochus the second, and then Antiochus the second had Seleucus the second, Callinicus. Terrible. This is annoying.
These names.
Yeah, Callinicus. So he becomes the new king of Asia, of Syria and Asia Minor, pretty much. Laodicea and her son, Seleucus II, Callinicus, become the new king and queen or whatever at this point. All right? So my head hurts. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a few minutes. So stay tuned. Let that settle in your brain, because I need some more tea. Tea is cold. I need to come back with some hot tea. Stay tuned. Shalom. Relax.
Shalom Israel, Most High Christ bless. Deacon Nathan here of IUIC Philadelphia. You're tuned into Our Hidden History Radio, where we go into a deep understanding and history of who we are, according to the Bible, hidden artifacts, archaeology, or geography, or you can think of that shrouds around our history of the Bible. We go into it in depth. So Israel, like, subscribe, comment on our YouTube channel, Our Hidden History Radio. See you then. Shalom, Most High Christ bless.
Do you know it? Do you know?
Okay, guys, we're about to start in a few minutes. Please settle down. I hear a lot of talking. Everybody's textbooks should be open. Settle down, settle down. Okay, class, welcome to Biology 102. My name is Professor Michael Jarinkin, and today we're going to be discussing the different components of the cell unit. All right, please open up your textbook to page 214, diagram 1B, okay? And today we're going to discuss the different structure of the human cell. Who can show me or discuss and explain thoroughly the different structures, the 4 components of a human cell? You?
I don't remember, sir.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, well, okay, you have to write this down, guys.
Write this down.
Get it in A, check it out A, get it in A, check it out A, it's going down A, mash it up A, mash it up, mash it up, mash it up.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
You are now flying.
Where my captain at?
Southwest!
Wake up, moon outside, it's a party. Hop up, dedication, it's a party. Decay, nut, destruction, it's a party. Too loud, too lit, move with the body. Bible with the pins in a black bag. Dance, 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 real fast. Zonavent book, yeah, I got that. Hold up, that's an Israelite starter pack. Passover dance with a staff in hand. Beast day show for a contraband. Dancing like I'm trying to see the homeland. Pentecost first fruits to the big man. Nobody party like an Israelite. Fist in the air like it's time to fight. North the kingdom trying to party with the Judites. Bop, 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 bop on my Benjavites. We ruling like Wakanda in the king time. Meanwhile, he told us working party in the meantime. All the Lord feasts probably start around your bedtime. Dancing in the field like a band when it's halftime. You ain't got no wine, here, have mine. Don't talk about your sorrow, this a bad time. Look, I'm just trying to tell you that it's high time for us to battle to this beat like it's drumline. Wake up, moon outside, it's a party. Hop up, dedication, it's a party. Decay, nut, destruction, it's a party. Too live, too lit, move with the body. Wake up, moon outside, it's a party. Hop up, dedication, it's a party. Decay, nut, destruction, it's a party. Too live, too lit, move with the body.
Dance floor time, just move up your body. Don't get loose and groove on the body. Bruise, wine, and Bacardi. If you're not turn up, then you are granddaddy. We living in the truth. We full up of the style and we dripping with the juice. And me with the most I choose. Make me happy so me dance and sweat till me slipping in me boots. Yeah, party and in a party we have fun and a dancing where we a dance till we see the sun. Party where we a party and have fun and we not go left the party till it done.
Get it in, hey, check it out, hey, get it in, hey, check it out, hey, it's going down, hey, mash it up, hey, mash it up, mash it up, mash it up. Get it in, hey, check it out, hey, get it in, hey, check it out, hey, it's going down, hey, mash it up, mash it up, mash it up, mash it up.
Wake up, moon outside, it's a party. Hop up, dedication, it's a party. It ain't no destruction, it's a party. Too live, too lit, move with the body. Wake up, moon outside, it's a party. Hop up, dedication, it's a party. It ain't no destruction, it's a party. Too live, too lit, move with the body.
Wake up! Gentlemen, this is a grad school program. This is not high school. This is not elementary school. I expect all of you to be fully awake and attentive. Matter of fact, everyone is dismissed, with exception to you, young men. Listen, I don't know what you were doing, if you were partying all night. However, you need to be awake for this class, all right? Check it out. You better get it in and focus, or your grades will go down. You understand? You're dismissed.
IUIC TV.
Dieu connaît, c'est ça n'a pratiqué. C'est moment côté de vie dans ça m'amuser. Tout que tu me montres ça, back à nous rejeter. Nous bless, les nous qui be comme mal, no stress. Les nous réunis ensemble, pas bien accès. Si ou pas de nous comprendre, we the greatest. Car we ça depuis sous habillement, non, nous pas care de sa l'autre nation à faire. Qu'on est nous fiers de ce que nous tout Israël. Je sais c'est your fête, pour nous tout qui là qui quoi. Pour aller danser, pour aller chanter, pour aller manger, et ouais mais c'est day. So qu'on a petit Jacob ou doit quitter. N'importe qui côté où il y a royaume faut au Québec. Songez bon Dieu qui fait nous tout qui là yon promesse.
More the kingdom is a feast day. Let's celebrate. It's a party. Southern kingdom is a feast day. Let's celebrate. It's a party. More the kingdom is a feast day. Let's celebrate. It's a party. Southern kingdom is a feast day. Let's celebrate. It's a party. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. We sparkle like royalty. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. Shout out and let's be merry. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. We're known as like King David. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. Let's get this party.
We are rave, we are bash, we are dance. It's an Israelite party. Let me see your hand. We are rave, we are bash, we are dance. It's an Israelite party. Let me see your hand. Kick trumpets, them a blow. Short drink a flow. It's a feast day. I'm excited to know. So we are keep the law and we never pause. Give praise to the King for a brand new start. Food I look right and smell nice. We are eat good at the feast. That's right. Garment look fresh. Yeah, we look right. Step up in a line. I bust a dance one time. Fit it in the beat. Move to the beat. This type of song make you jump out your seat. Style so nice. Yes, style so sweet. This how we do it when we turn up on the feast.
More the kingdom is a feast day. Let's celebrate. It's a party. Southern kingdom is a feast day. Let's celebrate. It's a party. More the kingdom is a feast day. Let's celebrate. It's a party. Southern kingdom is a feast day. Let's celebrate. It's a party. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. We sparkle like royalty. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. Shout out and let's be merry. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. We're known as like King David. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. It's an Israelite party, party. Let's get this party.
Sacrifice was given to the 12. It's time for y'all to pull your head out the ass and wake up.
Here we go. Put the ceiling fan on, make this shoulder drop, drop. Hey, hey, hey. There you go. Here's to the like a helicopter. Hey, hey. One time, y'all. Hey, cut the ceiling fan on, make this shoulder drop. Hey, hey, hey.
we're back. We're back from the break. Back from the break. Had to rest my brain, because that freaking Seleucus the first, Nicanor, and Seleucus the second. So as you know, I just went over how verse 7 goes into the king's daughter of the south, going into Berenice. She was killed by the other woman, the other wife, which would be Laodique, and she had Berenice killed along with her son, and set up her own son, eldest son, Seleucus II, Callinicus. All right, so just get verse 7 now. So Berenice got killed by Laodice.
The book of Daniel, chapter 11 and verse 7. But out of a branch of her roots.
Out of a branch of her roots is referring to the daughter of the south, Berenice's brother. Okay, Berenice, who was killed by Laodice, Berenice's brother, he comes out because he's mad. Go ahead.
Shall one stand up in his estate?
So the branch of her roots is going into Ptolemy Euergetes. Ptolemy the third. Jesus Christ. Ptolemy the third, Euergetes. Euergetes. I don't know how to pronounce these stupid ass names.
Damn.
So I'm just going to just give it a niggerish twist. The way I pronounce it. Euergetes. Ptolemy the third, Euergetes. Euergetes. Whatever. This is Berenice's brother. He's pissed off. He's mad because Laodice killed his sister. So he comes to like, yo, you killed my sister, I'm coming for you. So you got Laodice and her son, Seleucus II, Callinicus, ruling, right? So Berenice's brother comes popping off. Ptolemy III, Euergetes. Go ahead, to attack Seleucus. Go ahead.
But out of a branch of her roots shall one stand up in his estate.
Ptolemy the third, Euergetes. Go ahead.
Which shall come with an army.
To attack Seleucus II, Callinicus. Go ahead. And Laodice. Go ahead.
And shall enter into the fortress of the king of the north.
Seleucus II, Callinicus. Go ahead.
And shall deal against them and shall prevail.
And he killed Laodice. Okay, he killed Seleucus' mother. Rightfully so. You kill my sister, I'll kill your mother. It is what it is. So Laodice can put to death. All right. So now, give me real quick. So this is Ptolemy the third. Ptolemy the third, Euergetes. That's what this guy is. Give me real quick. Give me Sirach, the prologue real quick. The prologue of Sirach. Share something real quick. Ecclesiasticus, the prologue, that's the very beginning.
Yes, sir.
Hold on. Let me show you where to go. I'm not reading all of that. I'm tired. Read where it says, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention.
The first paragraph or the second one?
Paragraph. Just listen, man. Just look where find where it says, wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention. Wherever you find that, so I want you to start from.
The second.
I see. Yep.
Addicted. Thank you, sir.
Oh, you got it?
Yes, sir. Wherefore, let me entreat you to read it with favor and attention.
It is the book of wisdom or Sirach. Go ahead. Or Ecclesiasticus, book of wisdom. Go ahead.
And to pardon us, wherein we may seem to come short of some words, which we have labored to interpret.
Right, because it was interpreted. Go ahead. Translated. Go ahead.
For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them.
Go ahead.
And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language.
Watch this.
For in the 8th and 30th year coming.
In the 8th and 30th year. In the 38th year. Go ahead. Watch this.
Into Egypt.
Coming into where?
Into Egypt.
Coming into Egypt. Watch this.
When Euergetes.
Same Ptolemy. Go ahead.
Was king, and continuing there some time, I found a book of no small learning.
This one, Sirach. Go ahead.
Therefore, I thought it most necessary for me to bestow some diligence and travail to interpret it.
So this is translated during the time of the Greeks when Ptolemy Euergetes the Eighth was ruling. This book was done between 170 to 116 BC. So this is Ptolemy the 8th Euergetes. Remember, earlier, Berenice's brother was Ptolemy the 3rd Euergetes. This is Ptolemy the 8th Euergetes. So the Sirach took place during the time, or just translated during the time of this guy's reign, the 8th. All right? Between 170 to 116 BC, in between that time frame. All right? Going backwards. So we're talking about, so is that 44 years? No, not 44. 54, whatever, man. I know, man. 54 years. Yeah, 54 years is 60, whatever, man. 54 years, man. 54 years.
54 years. 54 years.
54 years, yeah, I'm right. 54 years. So that's the time I was translated, man. I like to read. I don't like math. English is my subject. All right, so let's go back. Daniel 11 and 7. 54 years. 54.
Euergetes was the 8th Ptolemy.
Right. Ptolemy the 8th Euergetes. We read about Berenice's brother. He was the 3rd Euergetes.
The book of Daniel, chapter 11 and verse 8. And shall also carry captives into Egypt their gods.
Right, it's going into what he would do. He would conquer. Ptolemy the 3rd Euergetes would do what? Read again.
And shall also carry captives into Egypt their gods.
Right, bring their gods of Syria, of Seleucus, Callinicus, their gods, conquer them. Go ahead.
With their princes, and with their precious vessels of silver and of gold. And he shall continue more years than the king of the north.
Right, go ahead.
So the king of the south shall come into his kingdom.
So the king of the south shall come into his kingdom. His kingdom is the king of the north. His kingdom is the king of the north's kingdom. Go ahead.
And shall return into his own land.
Which he did. Ptolemy III entered into Seleucus II's land, conquered, killed Laodice, and went back home. This is pretty much verse 9 is a recap of verse 8 and 7. All right? So now, out of the king of the north's line, Seleucus II's line, there were sons born. Read verse 10 now.
Verse 10. But his son shall be stirred up.
His son's going into Seleucus II, Callinicus, his sons, go ahead.
And shall assemble a multitude of great forces, and one shall certainly come and overflow and pass.
So Seleucus, Callinicus' sons, the Seleucus III, Caranus, that's one of his sons, Seleucus III, Caranus, and Antiochus III, which would be known as Antiochus the Great. Okay, Antiochus III the Great. So his two sons would be Seleucus III, Caranus, and Antiochus III the Great. Okay, named after Antiochus II, Theos, who was killed by his wife Laodice. Okay, but Caranus dies shortly after. So Antiochus the Great is the one it's referring to primarily. Antiochus the Great, father of Antiochus III the Great, is the father of the first Cleopatra. Antiochus III the Great is the father of the first Cleopatra. She was not a black woman. She was a Greek with Greek parents, white parents that took over Egypt. Her name was Cleopatra I Syra, S-Y-R-A, I believe. Or of Syria. It's either Syria or Syria. I don't care. But she was white. For you black folks out there, Cleopatra black. No, she was not. She was a Caucasian woman.
You better shut your black
living in Africa. All right? So read on. Daniel 11, where you at?
Verse 10 still.
Read again.
But his son shall be stirred up.
Caranus and Antiochus. But Caranus dies. Go ahead.
And shall assemble a multitude of great forces.
Against the king of the south. Go ahead.
And one shall certainly come and overflow and pass through.
Meaning armies. Go ahead.
Then shall he return and be stirred up even to his fortress.
Verse 11.
And the king of the south
the king of the south here is Ptolemy the Fourth, Philopator. Ptolemy the Fourth, Philopator. That's who this is. Ptolemy the Fourth, king of the south, is Ptolemy the Fourth, Philopator, love of the father. Philopator, pater, father, philo, love, father lover.
Weird. Weird.
So Ptolemy the fourth Philopator. Go ahead.
Shall be moved with choler, and shall come forth and fight with him.
Fight with Antiochus III. Go ahead.
Even with the king of the north. And he shall set forth a great multitude, but the multitude shall be given into his hand.
I mean, he loses. Antiochus loses to Ptolemy the fourth. Antiochus III loses to the king of the south, Ptolemy the fourth Philopator. He loses. Read on. What verse is that?
Verse 12 now.
Verse 12 now.
And when he hath taken away the multitude, his heart shall be lifted up, and he shall cast down many 10,000.
So Ptolemy the fourth Philopator conquers Antiochus, but he doesn't expand his empire. He chills out. He falls back. He kicks Antiochus behind. He chills out. Go ahead.
But he shall not be strengthened by
He
it.
didn't gain anything from defeating Antiochus. He just stayed ruling. Go ahead.
For the king of the north
King
shall
of the north is Antiochus III the Great. Antiochus the Great shall return. King of the north, go ahead.
shall return, and shall set forth a multitude greater than the former.
He gains more power over time. Go ahead.
And shall certainly come after certain years with a great army and with much riches.
Right, and he gains much power. Antiochus III just taking over. Verse 13.
And in those
wait.
verse 14 now.
14, yes.
So. And in those times there shall many stand up against the king of the south.
Ptolemy, go ahead.
Also the robbers of thy people,
us, Israel,
shall exalt themselves.
Because this battle between the Seleucid line and the Ptolemaic line was causing problems for Israel because our land is in the middle of this battle. So you have both families fighting each other and terrorizing us at the same damn time. That's why many of us began to flee further into Africa because of this nonsense here. The Greeks fighting each other over our land, like the Gaza, Syria. Remember, Syria is part of the land of Israel. So they were fighting over that. They took dominion over parts of Syria. So they were oppressing us at the same time they were fighting each other. So it was causing a lot of problems for it was a conflict of war. We were in the middle of it. So read again.
And in those
also the robbers. Stop them also.
Yes, sir. Also the robbers of thy people.
Going into the Greeks stole our land, conquering us, enslaving us. Go ahead.
Shall exalt themselves.
They gain power, authority, more military might. Go ahead.
To establish the vision.
To establish the vision. This is prophetic, going into them establishing the vision, taking over our land, and assuming our identity. But it's still going into the Greeks. Go ahead.
But they shall fall.
But they would fall. They would fall in doing so. Go ahead.
So the king of the north shall come and cast up a mount.
So the king of the north shall come and cast up a mount. Meaning he shall start to build. Antiochus is going into the king of the north. Is going into, what verse is this?
Verse 15.
15 is going into Antiochus the Great. He took Sidon, which is part of our land. Sidon was part of our land. Old Sidon, the ruins, and the island. Go ahead.
So the king of the north shall come up and cast up a mount, and take the most fenced cities.
Right, like Sidon, go ahead.
And the arms of the south shall not withstand.
The Ptolemaic family would start losing to Antiochus the Great. Go ahead.
Neither his chosen people.
Neither his chosen people.
Neither shall there be any strength to withstand.
So the Ptolemies will lose. We try to fight back. We lose. And it says, and there shall be no one can beat him. Antiochus will become very powerful. Go ahead.
But he that cometh against him shall do according to his own will, and none shall stand before him. And he shall stand in the glorious land.
In our land, go ahead.
Which by his hand shall be consumed.
Which by his hand shall be overthrown. So, we're going into Antiochus' family. Hold on, what verse is that?
Verse 16.
Hold on. Antiochus conquered, I forgot that part. Antiochus conquers Egypt. And once he conquered Egypt, that's when he started taking over Israel at that point. I wrote down the wrong thing. He conquered Israel, conquered Egypt. He enhances his control over Israel when he conquered Egypt. All right? Where we at?
Verse 16.
Verse 16. Read on.
Verse 17. He shall also set his face to enter with the strength of his whole kingdom, and upright ones with him. Thus shall he do, and he shall give him the daughter of women.
So he took over part of Egypt. But he wanted the whole Egypt. He didn't have, because Ptolemy still had dominion over Egypt. He wanted that. He wanted Egypt. He wanted it bad. So he conquered. He got some of it, but not all of it. So the Ptolemy still had Egypt in their grasp. So he was trying really hard to get hold of Egypt. So what did he do? Read again.
He shall also set his face to enter with the strength of his whole kingdom.
So remember, he is the father of Cleopatra, the first. Read again.
He shall also set his face to enter with the strength of his whole kingdom, and upright ones with him.
His followers.
Thus shall he do, and he shall give him the daughter of woman.
Give him is referring to the Ptolemy family. He shall give him his daughter, meaning he would give his daughter, Cleopatra the first, to Ptolemy the fifth. Ptolemy the fifth. All right, I'm just gonna say fifth for now. He didn't have no fancy name. It's just the fifth. So Antiochus III would give his daughter Cleopatra to Ptolemy the fifth. Okay, to Ptolemy the fifth. Go ahead.
Corrupting her.
Meaning, corrupting her. Go ahead.
But she shall not stand on his side.
So corrupting her means he was going to use her to influence him, so he could take over Egypt. I'm going to give him my daughter, be slick, give him my daughter, and use her as a spy to get intel and have her influence the king, so I can get my way up in there and take over Egypt. That's what it means by corrupt her, make her do his bidding, but that didn't happen. Read on, watch this.
But she shall not stand on his side.
But she would not listen to him. She turned on her father, Antiochus, and sided with Ptolemy the fifth instead, against him. Because Ptolemy the fifth was with the Romans. He sided with the Romans. So she agreed with her husband and went against her father. Go ahead.
Damn.
Neither before him.
It would not support Antiochus III. So his plans of trying to infiltrate Egypt or taking it over through his daughter, it failed. It failed. So that didn't work out for him. This is Daniel giving a detailed explanation of kings before they were even existing. Daniel wrote this during the time of what? Daniel 11 is during the time of the third year of Darius the Mede. He wrote this down. First year, thank you, of Darius the Mede. He wrote down the history of the freaking Seleucid Greek families in detail, and their daughters and kids and sons. This book is crazy. All right, what was that?
We just finished 17.
Read on.
Verse 18. After this shall he turn his face into the isles.
He'll start attacking. So he left us. I'm gonna go conquer someplace else. I can't get Egypt all the way. I'm gonna go somewhere else. Go ahead.
And shall take many.
And take many coastlands. Go ahead.
But a prince for his own behalf shall cause the reproach offered by him to cease.
So a prince will rise up and stop him, because he tried to go other places he didn't belong. So a prince will rise up to stop him. Going into who? A Roman ruler. Going by the name, sound familiar? His Roman commander's name was Lucius Cornelius Scipio. Who's that sound so familiar? Scipio Africanus' brother. The Scipio Africanus' brother who conquered Hannibal. All right, read again.
After this shall he turn his face into the isles.
Isles that don't belong, that were Roman territory. Go ahead.
And shall take many. But a prince for his own behalf shall cause the reproach offered by him to cease. Without his own reproach, he shall cause it to turn upon him.
So meaning, he forced him to turn around, get the hell up out of here. Give me first Maccabees 8. What time is it now? It's almost 2:30, right?
24.
5 minutes? Oh, shoot. Damn. We're going to finish this real fast. First Maccabees chapter 8, verse 1. We're going to read to verse 7.
First Maccabees chapter,
wrap it up from there.
chapter 8 and verse 1.
Right.
Now Judas had heard of the fame of the Romans.
The Romans. Go ahead.
That they were mighty and valiant men, and such as would lovingly accept all that joined themselves unto them, and make a league of enmity with all that came unto them, and that they were men of great valor. It was told him also of their wars and noble acts which they had done among the Galatians, and how they had conquered them and brought them under tribute, and what they had done in the country of Spain for the winning of the mines of the silver and gold.
Right, because the Romans conquered Hannibal. That's Scipio Africanus. Okay, Scipio Africanus conquered Hannibal and them, and once the Romans conquered Hannibal and them and took over the mines of Spain, they became, the wealth they acquired from Hannibal's defeat made Rome the Roman Empire. Go ahead.
For the winning of the mines of the silver and gold which is there,
Uh-huh.
and that by their policy and patience they had conquered all the place, though it were very far from them.
Through their policies and patience, like Greece did. Through their policies, their politics and patience, they would conquer, like America does. Through policy and patience. Go ahead.
Though it were very far from them.
From lands out far from their reach, they still had influence over there to conquer them through policy and war. Go ahead.
And the kings also that came against them from the uttermost parts of the earth, till they had discomforted them, and given them a great overthrow, so that the rest did give them tribute every year.
Yeah, the Greeks. Watch this.
Beside this, how they had discomforted in battle Philip and Perseus, king of the Kittims.
King of the Kittims. Go ahead.
With others that lifted up themselves against them, and had overcome them.
Watch verse 6.
How also Antiochus the Great.
Antiochus the Great, the third. Just the third right here. Go ahead.
King of Asia.
Uh-huh.
That came against them in battle, having 120 elephants, and with horsemen and chariots, a very great army, was discomforted by them.
Lost. Antiochus the Third, the Great, lost to the Romans. Watch this.
And how they took him alive, and covenanted that he and such as reigned after him should pay a great tribute.
Him and his sons should pay a tribute. Go ahead.
And give hostages that which was agreed upon.
Because Antiochus the Great had Hannibal as his counselor to overthrow Rome. And remember, he tried to use his daughter to influence the Ptolemy, but she sided with him. But Ptolemy the fifth was with the Romans. He said, the Romans are too strong. I ain't helping you with that shit. I ain't helping you do nothing. The daughter said, I'm with him. I ain't with you either. So he lost. So the Romans came along, and then he was getting advised from Hannibal how to beat them. When they got word of that, they said, listen, bring Hannibal to us. He escaped. No problem. He escaped. You're going to pay us a certain amount of money you owe. We're going to tax you. And it's going to be so much money. Your kids, you're going to pay it. Your kids are going to pay it. And you're going to have your kids as hostages, as collateral, until you pay it. So his son became Antiochus' son. Antiochus Epiphanes became a hostage at Rome. And then his son Seleucus had a son, and he went into captivity in Rome too, until that money was paid. All right? So Antiochus the Great was talking about the Romans, and Jewish Maccabees heard about it. Go back to Daniel 11 real quick. Let's go back. Almost done.
Verse 19 now?
Where were you at?
Finish 18.
Yeah, read 18 again.
Yes, sir. Daniel chapter 11 and verse 18. After this shall he turn his face unto the isles, and shall take many, but a prince for his own behalf shall cause the reproach offered by him to cease.
Lucius Cornelius Scipio, that's what I was referring to. The Roman commander stopped him. Go ahead.
Without his own reproach, he shall cause it to turn upon him. Then he shall turn his face toward the fort of his own land.
Return home.
But he shall stumble and fall, and not be found.
He dies. Go ahead.
Then shall stand up in his estate a riser of taxes. A raiser of taxes.
Then shall stand up in his place, in Antiochus' place, a what?
A raiser of taxes.
A raiser of taxes.
And the glory of the kingdom.
Go ahead.
But within few days he shall be destroyed, neither in anger nor in battle.
And that raiser of taxes is, guess who? Seleucus the Fourth, Philopator. That's the fourth. We read him earlier. Seleucus the Fourth, Philopator, going back to what? 2 Maccabees 3. It says Seleucus, king of Asia. It's the same guy. Seleucus the Fourth, Philopator is a raiser of taxes.
Still paying tributes to him, like you said.
Right. Yeah. And he's the one that we found out who he is.
Right.
He's a raiser. He was a raiser of taxes.
Right.
All right. So we're gonna stop there. All right, and we'll continue another time. We'll next week, Lord's will. So until then, shout outs to the IT team and shout out to the breakfast team. All praises. They did an excellent job today. Announcements real quick.
Yes, sir. Hey, Israel, let's give Deacon a hand for that class.
All praises.
That class was
great
fire.
show.
Fire. Hey, I know myself, I'm going to need to go back and watch that over. I know you will too if you're really paying attention. So don't forget to go and follow our Hidden History Radio on YouTube. We got all the classes Deacon is going over from the Babylon, Persia, and now in Greece, all right? Don't forget to donate also to PayPal with IUIC.Philadelphia@IsraelUnite.org. In the comment section, you can put OHH or Our Hidden History. Once again, that's IUIC.Philadelphia@IsraelUnite.org. Also, let's not neglect the Booster Club. You can donate on PayPal by IUIC.fundraising@IsraelUnite.org. Once again, IUIC.fundraising@IsraelUnite.org. All right? That's it, D.
Yep. And also send as much donations as you can to Captain Joel, our favorite beloved captain.
Oh, my God.
You know, we love you. We miss you.
Oh,
that
man.
you're not here today. And also our brother Chief Grimy Feathers. Well, we changed. Well, the name has changed. I'm sorry. The name has changed, you know. The name is now Chief Sycamore.
Yeah, he's always sick and more.
You know what I mean? AKA Chief Sicky, you know. Yeah. But we miss you, brother. Get well soon and come back to the show. And what they call that, Stockholm Syndrome is real.
Yep.
It's funny how we miss the abuse when you're not here.
Yep.
We should have been celebrating, but we love our brothers, man. Hope to see y'all soon.
And Officer Jasmine, try that gin, man. Grass-fed gin.
Happy Feast of Dedication, Israel.
Happy Feast of Dedication, Israel.
Happy New Moon.
Happy New Moon. Enjoy. Looking forward to the closing. Y'all have the best time in the name of the Lord.
Yep. So with that, say shalom.
Shalom. Most High in Christ bless.
Searching for the road to the way back. We don't know our father's going way back. Do you know it? Do you know it all?